from Love Riley, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sewing up this adorable sunshine crossbody bag from Bagstock Designs. I just love this pattern. I've made a lot of these bags and it is so quick and it's so simple and it's elegant and it's a really good size and I love it. I had this vinyl custom printed especially for this bag, so I spent a lot of time designing it and I think it's turned out fantastic. So on the front we have a front zipper pocket, which is a great size. I love this top detail here because it's perfect for your nameplate if you have one, or any bag tag that you have. This is the back of the bag. As you can see, I did rivets for just a decorative element and I think they turned out great considering that rivets and I hate each other. Again, I had all this custom printed. This blue vinyl is from A Passion for Vinyl and the inside lining is a waterproof canvas that I had again custom printed from By the Bay Craft Supplies. I'll leave a link in the description below of where you can get these as well. Instead of adding the 90-degree turn at the end, I actually just did a zipper tab. That's the only modification that I've made, is just adding this zipper tab on the other end. So on the inside of the bag, on the back wall, I have another zipper pocket. Which is, again, a great size. Handy for your cards. On the opposite wall, I just left mine blank, but you could add another zipper pocket, you could add a slip pocket, whatever really you choose to do. You could add card slots. It is a really good size for a party bag or just an everyday bag if you don't like carrying big totes. That's the bottom of the bag. This pattern comes together so quickly. So if you've, for some reason, forgotten a birthday gift and you need something quick and simple, this is it. It really doesn't take a lot of hardware. You could actually add a wristlet to save on hardware. Give your customers the option of having both, so turn it into a wristlet or a crossbody bag. There are a lot of modifications that you could make, but this bag is a really, really good size and I absolutely love making it. So I think I'll go ahead and order some templates from Brymax and just have this as a staple bag in my range. So this again is the Sunshine Crossbody bag from Bagstock Designs. If you'd love to see how I made this, then please keep watching and I'll catch you all on the next video. Have an amazing day. Bye. Okay, I'll start with all of my external pieces. All of the blue vinyl I got from A Passion for Vinyl, and I've interfaced that with a medium woven. I have chosen to do that just because I want it extra sturdy. It doesn't recommend that in the pattern, but that's just what I've done. So my crossbody strap, medium woven. I haven't worried about not keeping it in the seam allowance, and I've just put a line down the center and added double-sided tape. So one of those for my crossbody strap. I've got two connector pieces, medium woven, line down the center, double-sided tape. Two of those. Then I have my exterior side pieces. This is piece A and B. They are mirrored. Please make sure that you mirror them. So this is one set here, mirrored. These ones I interfaced with Decaville Light out of the seam allowances as per the pattern. So I've got 4 of those, 2 sets. Remember, they're mirrored. So that's all those. I have my exterior front center top panel. This is where I'm going to install my nameplate and Decaville Light out of the seam allowances. So one of those. And this is a vinyl that I had printed from By the Bay Craft Supplies. This is my exterior front center bottom panel. I've got one of those. And again, Decaville Light out of the seam allowances as per the pattern. So this is my exterior back center panel. You want one of these in your exterior fabric. Again, had it custom printed specifically for this bag. So all the measurements are specifically placed. one of those Decaville Light out of my seam allowances. One of those. I've got 2 zipper tabs out of my exterior fabric, interfaced with medium woven and my line down the centre. That's the only other exterior pieces that I've got. Okay, we'll move on to my lining pieces. I've got an interior zipper pocket. I've got 2 of these. This I designed and had custom printed through by the Bay Craft Supplies. So this is a waterproof canvas that I had done. So 2 internal zipper pockets. Then I have 2 main lining panels, not interfaced with anything. And then this here is my exterior zipper pocket. So this will attach to the front piece. So one of those, again, not interfaced, waterproof canvas. I've got 3 zippers that are cut to specific measurements given in the pattern. And then you want all your hardware, which isn't a lot. You got 3 zipper pulls. You got 2 for the outside, or you got 1 on the front, 1 on the top, 1 on the inside zipper pocket. So 3 of those. I've got 2 D-rings, 2 swivel hooks, 2 swivel hooks and a slide adjuster there for my crossbody strap. I've got my custom nameplate and 2 Chicago screws. That's it. If I've forgotten anything, I'll leave a note on the screen, but apart from that, that's it. So let's get on and make this bag. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is install my nameplate. I've got my exterior front center top panel, and I'm just going to go ahead and find the center. I have clipped the centers when I was cutting this out. The pen I'm using is just an air erasing sew line pen that I got from Brymax. So that's my center there. Then I've got my template, my logo template, also got from Brymax. And I'm just going to line that up. So this template here that I got from Brymax is specifically made for my nameplate. So what happened was I took this to Binny and said, can you make me a template so that I know that it's always, my nameplate's always in the center, it's going to be in the center, and all I've got to do is just mark the prong placement. So that's exactly what she did. She took my nameplate and did all the measurements and lined it all up and made this nameplate template for me. So it's always in the center. So all I've got to do is line that up exactly where I want to put my nameplate. I've just got to mark the prong placements, just like so. And then I can get my craft knife and just come in and cut those slits. I just make sure that I'm cutting with the blade pointing up to the roof so I don't cut through in my finger. And then I can get rid of all these marks. Okay, so I can just go ahead and insert my nameplate. I do have a piece of Decaville Light that I can back it with. I don't need to because I do have Decaville Light on this, but always better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to pop that on, put my washer on, and I'm just going to put my prongs going into the middle. And I will cover that with some masking tape because I do not want that to rub through on my lining and cause a hole. Oh, that looks so nice and perfectly scented. Okay, moving on. So for this, we're going to need our exterior front panel, our exterior top front, your zipper tape, and a zipper pull, and you want your front zipper pocket lining. So we want all these pieces for this step. I'm just going to put my zipper pull on. The zipper tape that I'm using I got from Zen, and they're black with rainbow iridescent teeth. And the zipper pull that I'm using I got from Dreamy Bag Hardware. You want to find the center of your zipper tape. And I'm just going to make a little clip and then use my lighter to seal that so that it doesn't fray over time. I have made a few of these bags and they are so quick but beautiful and easy, and just a really quick make if you're like me and you just need to sew. It has been a week. Okay, so once you've found the center of your zipper tape, you're going to find the center of the bottom panel and you're going to line those up, clip them together, and I'm just going to baste this on. So my zipper pull's out of the way, and I'm just going to baste that on using a top stitch length of 4.5. So you only need to go across as far as your exterior panel for this bit. Then you want to take your lining and you want to place that right sides together with your front panel and your zipper in the middle, lining it up in the center, clip that together, and we're going to sew that at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Now, I'm not going to change to a zipper foot for this, so I'm just going to do mine as close to the seam allowance given in the pattern as I can. So now we want to sew the lining to our zipper tape. So now I'm on a joining stitch length. For me, it's 3.5. So then what I'm going to do is flip up my lining and push it to the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to top stitch just along this exterior part here. So I'm only top stitching on this exterior part. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the bottom part of my zipper pocket, and I'm going to bring it up with the top edge of my zipper tape, just like so. So just like that, match it up in the center and clip it into place. So before we sew it, just after we've clipped it, this is what it should look like. So you're seeing the wrong side of your zipper pocket with the wrong side of your zipper tape. And I'm going to baste that on. And I'm basting it on an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then we can get our top panel and we can put right sides together with our exterior. So exteriors are right sides together. Line that up in the center. clip that together, and then we're going to sew that at our seam allowance in the pattern. And we only need to sew, because I've already basted it, I'm only going to sew on the exterior part. I don't need to sew the whole lot again. And then I'm going to flip this up, and I'm going to top stitch this part. So my seam allowance is pointing up, and I'm only going to top stitch through this exterior part. Then what you can do is you can come in and you can just close all this off. So baste it all together so it's all one piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 1/8 of an inch from this side, come down here just till I get past the zipper pocket, and then do the same on the inside. Obviously bring my zipper pull in. So again, I'm just doing it 1/8 of an inch. I am going to back stitch over my zipper tape and then come down. So what I've done is I've just created it as one part. And I can come in with my scissors and trim this off because we do not need this anymore. So this is what it looks like from the back. So we're just going to trim this off. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I am going to come in with my lighter and heat seal the side of that zipper tape. You do not want that coming, you don't want that fraying. And then I'll do the same for the other side. So again, I'm only going to go as far down as my zipper pocket. Bring your zipper pull in. And this bit doesn't have to look pretty because it's going to be within the seam allowance for your sides anyway. Trim that down. Heat seal it. And then there we have a completed front zipper pocket. Just like so. Completely sealed up. It's caught in the seam allowance. Love it. Okay, so now that that's finished, what we need to do is find the center of our main panel. So just line your edges up, and you'll need this center notch. You'll need this center notch for the next step. So do that on both sides. Then you want to get your exterior side pieces. And remember, there are 2 sets of these. These are mirrored. When you're laying them on your bag, just lay them out in the direction they should go. So your corner parts should be on the outside and your straight longest edge should be on the inside. Now it does tell you in the pattern, so that's what it should look like before you put it together. Now it does tell you in the pattern to go ahead and clip your centers for this next part. And you want to place that right sides together with the center notches that we just found and clip that. And we're going to sew that together using the seam allowance given in the pattern. It may look a little bit off here if you didn't use the same seam allowance that was in the pattern for when you attached your zipper, it's fine because I'm just going to trim the top piece when I'm done. So once that's right sides together, sew it together using the seam allowance in the pattern. And I am just going to come in and do a second row of stitching just next to the first ones that I made. And that's just so the stitches don't pull. Okay, now that's done. If you're on a domestic machine and you want to trim some bulk out of your seams, you can come in and just trim away some of this bulk just in here. So I'm just going to push that out. My seams are pointing out to the right and I'm going to top stitch through my side panel. And then we're just going to repeat for the other side. So with our other side piece, I'm just going to bring my zipper pull in a little bit, line those centers up, clip it into place, and stitch it at our seam allowance given in the pattern. And then I'm going to do the second row of stitching just as I did before. I have to tell you a story about what happened this week to this sewing machine. Then again, my seam's pointing out to the side, push that across and I'm going to top stitch on my side panel. So my son decided to come and help his mum, which was lovely of him, the other day, which he often does after school. He'll come in and see me and see if I need help with anything. Well, the other day he came in and didn't see my coffee, which was sitting just over to my right. Sorry, just wanted to stitch that. Didn't see my coffee sitting over to the right hand side of me and accidentally spilt it, knocked it over. Well, he grabbed it pretty much straight away, but it had actually gone down into the oil bed of my machine, went underneath this plate here and went into the oil tray of my machine. So I panicked and rang Adam from ProSew and said, can you please urgently send me some more machine oil because I don't have any here or any spare here. I only have like a tiny little bottle, but I had to replace the whole lot. Anyway, he was very kind and got it off to me that day, but I mean, it took a couple of days, but that was a stray post. Anyway, my machine just sat here and waited very patiently for its new oil to arrive. So needless to say, Clara is back on track. She's got brand new oil. I took wipes and I cleaned the whole thing. It looked brand new and she's good to go. So this is the first time that I've sewn on her since I changed the oil. So no more coffee near my machine. I said to my son, unlike Mum, my machine doesn't run on coffee. Luckily, it was only a little bit, but still. So that was that. And then we all got COVID, so yay. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and just trim down this extra bit that I have at the top here. And the reason that I have that is just because my seam allowance, when I attached the zipper, was different to what is in the panel. Is different to what is in the pattern. And then I can find the centers again, because I'll need that for later on. So then this is our front panel. Look at how amazing that is. Oh, that looks awesome. I have an idea though. All right, I'll do the back and then I'll see what I think. With your exterior back panel, it is one big piece. However, if you wanted to put another zipper pocket in, you just go ahead and do the same steps as what I've just done. But I'm just keeping mine as one piece. So all we need to do is, as we did before, lay it out the way that it's meant to be. Your squares pointing to the outside, your longest edge pointing in, right sides together. Clip it. And so we're just repeating exactly the same steps as we just did with the side panels. I'm actually just going to go ahead and clip both of these together now. You could also add a little exterior slip pocket on the back here. Again, you could put another zipper pocket. You could put a welt pocket. But I'm just going to do it as per the pattern. Also, if you have sewing labels, you don't have bag tags or anything like that, you could put a sewing label just here on the side as well. That's another good place for it. And again, I'm just doing a second row of stitching. And I'm going to come across before I top stitch and just sew the other side so I don't have to jump seam. I don't have to jump stitch lengths. Again, if you're worried about, if you're sewing on a domestic, either trim away, I would trim away your external seam rather than your side panel seam. So you could just come in and just trim this down to make it bulk free. So I'm just going to flip mine out, my seam allowance is pointing out to the side, and I'm going to top stitch on my side panel. And then flip this side out and top stitch this side as well. Okay, done. That's both of our externals done. You can go ahead and trim any overhangs that you have. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, I want to put some rivets, and I know I absolutely hate rivets, so why I'm even thinking this, I don't know. But I want to put some rivets down the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 inch down from the top edge and then 1/4 inch away from this, from the side seam. And I'm just going to place a dot every 1 inch. So just to get till I get down to 6 inches. So again, an inch down from the top, a 1/4 inch away from that side seam. I'm going to go ahead with my cam press and press all the holes before they disappear. I really hope I don't regret this. So because I didn't trim down my seam allowance on the side panels, I am trying to make sure I get both layers just to give me some extra protection there for when I put the rivets through. Oh, even though it's going off on the side anyway, it doesn't matter. One more. Oh, this thing makes me so nervous. Okay, I'm going to push the rivet through there. Oh, this is going to look amazing though, isn't it? Please be kind to me. Do you know what? Because I am so paranoid, I'm going to include Decabillite. With the history that I have with rivets, I'm not taking the chance. Perfect. Okay. Okay, now for the caps. Fingers crossed. We need a coffee break, I think. Just do it. That one felt good. Oh, lovely. Just fall apart, please. Is that a sign? Oh, far out. Don't be a sign, please. Because I only got one of these printed. Does anyone else have these problems, like the same problems that I have with rivets, or is it just me? It's probably just me, but they look good. Okay, this one does not look like it's pushed in all the way though. I'm scared to do it again, but it's in. Oh, it worked. Okay, we'll do the other side. I mean, for someone who doesn't like rivets, what a thing to do in a bag, hey? Okay. One more. I did it! I did it! That's what we have. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the lining. Okay, on my zipper pocket, What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this zipper pocket template that I got from online bag supplies. And I'm just going to draw a zipper box on the wrong side of one of my pieces of my zipper tape. There are measurements given in the pattern for this. I just find it easier to do it this way. Then I'm going to get one of my lining pieces. I've also got some hemming clips. I'm going to go ahead and find the center of this. I'm going to find the center of my lining. And I'm going to match these right sides together along that center line. And it gives you a measurement in the pattern of how far down to put this. I'm just going to... I really like this air erasing pen. So I'm just going to put those right sides together, match them up along the line that I just ruled. And I'm going to clip this into place using my hemming clips. This waterproof canvas tends to slide on me, so I'd rather clip it so it's not going to move. I'm going to sew the box that I just marked out. And then once that's secured into place, I can remove all the clips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark 1/2 inch up from where I sewed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim in the center here, and then when I get to the lines that I just drew, I'm going to do a V, cut out to the stitches but not through the stitches that I just made. So fold that in half. And then you want to go up to, but not through the stitches that you just sewed. And you want to create this V. And you can push all this to the back. So I'm just going to fold these up. Like so. You can go ahead if you're using cotton and press this so that it sits flat. This one's usually just pretty good with being hand pressed. Okay, put your zipper pull on. Actually, before I put my zipper pull on, what I'm going to do is just run 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape along the edges. Now I'm going to put my zipper pull on.
And again, I've got my zipper closing to the left. What I'm going to do to keep this out of my way is I'm just going to put some masking tape just here to hold this down. There we go. Then you want to get your zipper tape. I've got my zipper off to the left so that it's out of my way. And with your zipper tape, what you want is you want to make sure that when it's this side, it's within, your tape is within that zipper pocket. If it's out, it's not going to, you're not going to catch it when you top stitch. So make sure that it's within. That's why I cut mine longer than I need to. So just make sure that it's within that zipper pocket. Line it up in the center. And then when you're happy that it's in the center, I'm just going to remove the bottom layer of, I'm just going to remove the bottom backing off the double-sided tape. Okay, and then I can remove the top bit, which is easier said than done, isn't it? I don't know if it's the zipper tape or if it's the sticky tape. There we go. And then I'm going to sew a box around my zipper tape. And I'm just going to start where there's white. You can pull your threads to the back and tie them off if you want to. I might do that actually. So if you're going to pull your threads to the back, just make sure you leave long tails. So I'm just doing it 1/8 of an inch from the bottom edge of that zipper hole that we cut. And I can pull this to the back. So I've just pulled those to the back. Remember to bring your zipper pull in. And then up this end. And then back down. So now that I've cleared that, I can do my zipper tape up. I'm going to come to the back and tie off these threads. Then I'm back to the beginning, leave long tails, pull the threads to the back, tie these off. And you can just heat seal those. Okay, I can remove the masking tape. Then you want to get your other zipper pocket lining, right sides together, and you want to match up the top seams here. So 2 top pieces together. You want to clip those together. I will be leaving this zipper pocket open to turn our lining through and for the final stitch. If you don't mind seams being on the inside of your lining at the bottom for your final stitch, then go ahead and close it. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to come up and I'm going to get as close to these triangles as possible to sew them down, because if they pull through, they'll pull through here and possibly your zipper tape could come out with it. So you want to try and sew those down. So the longer you leave them, the more chance you have of catching them in your seam at this step. And then I'm going to come across and sew these 2 together. Back down here, again catching the V, and then back down here, leaving my bottom open. And then what I will also do is at the beginning, I'm just going to take these 2 pieces and fold them together on themselves, just like so. So just both of them together and just fold them. And I'm going to sew straight along there, and it'll help when I'll show you at the end, but this helps. So I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You could do bigger, you could do smaller. But when I come in, I'm going to veer in and try and catch this triangle. And I will back stitch over it twice. And then along the top. And then back down this side. And again, coming in over that triangle. And then I'm going to come back out. And then when I get to near the bottom, I'm going to fold up that corner the same as we did before. About 1/4 inch. Oh, I did not like that, but that's fine. I will come in and trim off that zipper tape. We don't need that much. Again, heat seal. Okay, so with this bottom edge that we folded up, all we've got to do now is just pull it, and it's going to create the bottom seam for when we need to sew the bottom together, the pocket together. So it's just created a seam for us already, rather than you having to mark it or do it at the last step. Fantastic. And then that is our lining done. So I'm going to sew my connectors now. So I've just marked a line down the center with double-sided tape. I'm going to fold those in together. And then I will be top stitching these. And then I can just come through and top stitch this other one. And then I can do the second one. And I'm just lifting my foot because I don't want any markings from the bottom of my walking foot to mark up the vinyl as it's sitting there waiting for me to do this next step. Okay, finally. Then we can get our D-rings. Then all I've got left is a zipper pull. And again, we want to match the side that's got the seam against the side that's got the seam in the D-ring. You can just leave them like that and sew them into the sides, but I just like to base mine. Just using, just at 1/8 of an inch from that edge. And I'll do that on both. So for this part of the pattern, I actually do this bit differently. In the pattern, it actually has you do a 90-degree turn at one end and then a zipper tab at the other. I like to do zipper tabs at both, so that's what I'm going to do. So in the pattern, it actually does tell you what the finished length of your zipper should be. So make sure that you're using the right size. Not sure why I'm going to attempt fate with these zipper tabs, but let's go. So just putting double-sided tape down the center. With fate, what I mean is with the sticky tape sticking. Put your zipper pull on. Make sure that it's completely correct. You don't have any teeth that are out of alignment. I'm going to take one of my zipper tabs. I'm going to place one end of my zipper just below that center line, and I'm going to fold it over and sandwich it in the middle. Then I'm going to top stitch the seam closest to the zipper tape together at 1/8 of an inch. Just like so. Then do the same on the other side. So I'm just going to line it up just under that line and then fold it over so that it is even. And I'm top stitching this raw edge here. Now I did cut my zipper tabs bigger, so you want to go ahead and trim them down to be even with your zipper tape. And then we're going to find the center of our zipper. So I just put tabs together, and I am just going to just do a little clip in the center. on both sides. You can mark it with a pen. I'm just doing a little triangle and then using my lighter just to seal that, again to prevent fraying over time. And then I'm going to put my zipper all the way to the left. You want your front external piece. So you're going to use, we're putting it all together, you're going to need all your pieces. So I've got my front external piece, my zipper, and I'm going to place it right sides together. So you're matching that up in the center. And I'm just going to baste this on. Do my zipper up. So that's what we have, and then you want to get your lining piece. Now, this is where you need to think about the inside of your bag. So we've got our lining with our zipper, and then we've got the other side that's just plain. Now, you could have put a slip pocket on there if you wanted to. So, being that this is the front of the bag, what you need to think about is what you want on the inside of this piece. I want my plain bit. So when I open my bag, I unzip it, I want to look inside the bag, and on the back wall, I want my zipper. So that's going to get attached to the other piece. So whatever piece you want on the opposite side of this, which is for me, again, is my blank piece, is what we're going to attach next, okay? So, right sides together, and we're sewing this on at the seam allowance that's given in the pattern. Mine's just a little bit different, but if you can't do the full seam allowance, 1/4 inch is fine. As long as you're consistent. And then this one, I'll sew on at a joining stitch length, a joining stitch length. Just want to move my zipper out of the way so it doesn't get in my seam. What some people like to do is, because we're going to top stitch this now, so what some people like to do is only top stitch, so flip that to the back, and they only like to top stitch through the front layer and not through their lining. I don't like to do that. I like my lining top stitched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out of the way. And there is bulk here because there is these seams here. You could trim them down if you needed to. But what I'm going to do, because we need these sides to be unsewn for when we put it together. So I'm going to top stitch on my external piece, but I'm only going to top stitch from the beginning of this zipper tab, I'm just trying to get the lining out of the way, from this beginning here of this zipper tab to the end of this zipper tab, no further than that. So I'm going to top stitch that, and I'm going to be pulling my lining out of the way so that it's taut, because I don't want it to bunch up. I'm not pulling on the zipper, I'm pulling on the lining. Now there is going to be a jump here because there is those side seams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of vinyl to put behind my foot so that it doesn't tear up that seam as I come back down. Oh, that was the perfect placement for my nameplate too. I was worried there for a second. Okay, and we've got a thick seam coming up here. So again, I'm just going to come in with that vinyl. And again, I'm pulling my lining down, but I'm going to stop at the end of this zipper tab. And done. And my bobbin didn't misbehave that time. So, as you can see from the lining side, it's not bunched up, it's all pulled down, and it's not going to be in the way of our zipper opening. And then that's what it looks like from the front side. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get our back piece, our back external piece, right sides together, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to match these up. I'm going to base this on and then add my lining and repeat the same steps. And then it's, oh, actually, when you're sewing on your side seams, if you come in just here where these two bits overlap and just trim out some of the bulk there, it'll help with this step. So you can do that on all 4 pieces. I did do it on the other one, I just forgot to mention it. And I know that the chances of these rivets actually coming through to my lining are slim, but I am going to cover those. And not only that, if for some reason they do come loose, they're going to stick to the tape. They're not going to go loose in your bag. So hopefully this is another protection to keep them in place. So clip these into place. It might be easier for you to sew it that way. That way you can see exactly what where you're stitching. So we'll do it that way. So I'm just basting this on 1/8 of an inch. Zip it out of the way. This is a great bag. It's a quick bag, but it would be great for production sewing. So if you have a fair or a market or something, it is very quick to be able just to go bam, bam. Do you know what would be even quicker? Is if you had templates for this, and Bromax do sell them. Just saying. So that's sewn on. So you want your other lining, which for me is the one with the zipper, and right sides together and clip that on. Don't mention that this is a free pattern. How awesome is that? I will leave a link for the pattern below, as well as everything I've used for this bag. And I will leave a link to Bromax as well for templates. Okay, again, I'm sewing this at my full seam allowance. And then that's done. So we can pull all these out of the way, put our right sides together, our wrong sides together, so our exterior with our zipper pocket, and I'm going to top stitch that. So again, I'm only going to top stitch between those zipper pulls. Sorry, I'm only going to top stitch between those zipper tabs. So I'm pulling my lining out of the way, and my seam is going down towards the bottom. Okay, I'm up that little hill part. Okay, I'm up to that second heel part. Can I just say how much this blue vinyl from A Passion for Vinyl, it actually does remind me of cork. It is really nice to sew. We're on the home stretch. So then this is what we have on the inside. And then this is our outside. So what we need to do is I'm just going to flip all my panels except my main panel. So I've got all my lining and the exterior to one side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to install my connectors. There is a measurement for this given in the pattern. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and baste those on. And I just left half an inch overhang into the seam allowance. Perfect. Okay, now we can put it all together and sew it, and then it's done. We're going to need a lot of clips for this next step, because what we're doing is we're sewing it all together. So you want external, right sides touching, lining, right sides touching. Okay, now the first part that you want to guarantee is lined up are these parts just here. So what we're going to do is make sure that that seam is correctly lined up. So if you have to sticky tape, if you have to put some double-sided tape there to guarantee that it lines up, go ahead and do that. But that is exactly where it needs to be, lined up, for both the lining and the external. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm just going to do a couple of clips on either side. And then I'm going to come to the other side and match those same seams up. And the seams for my external pieces are facing down towards the bottom of the external pieces. So line those up. Then what you can do is go ahead and just clip the rest of the bag. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew just a basting stitch right here so it doesn't move while I clip the rest of the bag together. Okay, now that that's sewn, it's not going anywhere. Probably also a good idea to bring your zipper pull in if you've left your zipper lining open, that is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Just a basting stitch. It doesn't have to be anything fancy as long as you're in that seam allowance. Okay, that's it. And then we can go ahead and just clip the rest of the bag together. So I'll start from the bottom centers. Okay, and then the sides. See, make sure that your D-ring is pointing in. Mine was in my seam. That would not have worked out well. Naughty. I mean, what are you trying to escape? You're going on an amazing bag. Forever shown off. Now with the bottom, we are going to leave some of this unsewn because we need to be able to turn the bag. So it will give you a measurement in the pattern of how much roughly to leave. Okay, it's time to sew this up. Seam allowance in the pattern. And I will do 2 rows of stitching on this as well. Okay, that's our first edge. And then I'm going to jump across to our side edge. This is where I'm going to use my vinyl to come down from this height. Now we do increase the seam allowance that's given in the pattern on our lining. I will only sew the lining once, but my exterior I will do twice. Now I'm going to stop here so I've got enough room. I'm going to come off at an angle, which will hopefully prevent tearing of the lining when we turn it. Cut off these jump stitches. Come in at an angle here. Make sure your pocket is out of the way. You don't want to be sewing through that because you don't want to unpick it at this stage. I mean, we're nearly done. And then jump across to this side. And then once I get to about an inch to an inch and a half from where my external meets my lining, I'll come back in at my normal seam allowance. So now I'm going to start working back in towards my normal seam allowance. That's one done. So again, I'm going to do a second line, but I'm not doing it on my lining, only my exterior. I just did an extra row of stitching just on that seam of the connector. So I'm just going to trim that off. I'm not going to trim it all the way, just a little bit. I do still want some in my seam allowance. That's it for that. And we can box our corners. You can go ahead and you can trim down the seam allowance. I think I'll leave it. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is put my hand in through to my exterior. And we're going to box these corners. So with these seams here, you've got two choices. You can either nest them, which is one goes one way, the other goes another, or you can butterfly them open so that they lay flat. It's up to you. I think I'm just going to butterfly mine open. So line those up. And whatever you do for one side, you need to do for all the others. We're like 3 steps away. Okay. So again, push that down, just pull those out so that they seams line up. Okay, so that's the exterior. So you can see that they're open, pushed flat, and then we can do the same on the lining. So pushing those out. And just remember that the seam allowance for this bottom, so when we do these box corners, is going to be at the bigger seam allowance that we increase to. Okay, one more. I'll start with my lining. Just remember, it is at that increased seam allowance. I will trim these seam allowances down just for this one, just because it is so big. Just on the box corners only. And I'm only trimming it then an 1/8 of an inch, maybe quarter. And then our exterior. This is our normal seam allowance. Do my second row. Oh, you're much happier, sounds like. And then next, oh, I forgot to trim down that extra connector. There we go. Okay. Now that's done, we can turn it out. Okay, so grab a corner and I'm just pulling that through the lining. And because we did leave such a big gap, this is very easy to turn. Pulling that through. So I'm just putting my hand in the bottom and pushing out the corners. Oh, that looks amazing. Make sure there's no puckers. Oh, wow. And then we can come up here, push our zipper tabs out. Push our lining out. Okay, that's the inside. How pretty. Okay, now I can open my zipper and then I can pull the lining through the zipper. So this is why I left the zipper open. If we didn't, we would have to close this within the bag and we would have to create a seam and then top stitch it in the bag, but I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And what I will do is put a label in there, a woven label. Just in the middle. So that's our lining, fully closed, so no seams within the lining, main lining I should say. And then I can push that back in the bag and then pull these two together and do our final stitch. Is there one thing in bag making that you keep trying over and over and over again to do, and it never works, but you're like me and you just keep trying, just like rivets? Doesn't matter how many times I think to myself, this is a bad idea. Guess who does it and gets disappointed and has to rip things out, and but yet I keep thinking one day we'll get along and it'll work for me. Is there anything? It could be a particular textile that you cannot sew, or something that just doesn't like you, just like rivets and I don't like each other. And maybe I should just accept that and move on, but will I? I think so. Although my next bag I'm doing decorative rivets, so maybe not. I don't know if I will do those. Let's sew this up. Let's push that lining in, out the pocket. That's it. We can attach our crossbody strap. That is absolutely beautiful. That is so pretty. I love it. So there it is. There's the front. Our front zipper pocket, which is plenty big enough for your phone, keys. Oh, I think that looks amazing. And then our top zipper. So that's the lining. We've got that back zipper pocket. And then the back. I really do like that. I really do. I'm very, very, very happy with how that turned out. I think it just looks so awesome. And again, it's a free pattern. I'll leave a link to everything I use below. I'll leave a link to the pattern. Thank you to Bagstock for allowing me to film this video for you. And I shall catch you all on the next one. Have a great day. Bye.
You think you know me.